Good morning, folks. This is Anne Marie, and this is the extended SPY report. What we are looking at is a very, very messy space that's dropped out and below a trend line. Now, a couple of things I want you to think about technically. One is we dropped from the weekly VWAP to the monthly VWAP all the way down to the 200 on the hourly, and we are bouncing just above it this morning because of the pre-market action. But right here we've got the weekly support level ones and the pivot of Friday support level 1 both sitting right here. We also have a level of congestion that's sitting at 162.65. I suspect that some buying pressure sort of appeared here, and now we are popping. Here's the thing, a lot of our time frame showing downside momentum. Let's look through it. We've got the 1 hour showing downside. We've got the 4 hour flattening out here. See this change in direction? Up, down, up, down, up, down. If you are looking at formations and they start doing this, instead of, after it does it the first time, your first idea needs to be, you know what, I'm going to draw a line right here in this SMI, and when it breaks down, I'm going to think that it's going to be in continuation. So both of these sloping downward, when the two SMIs are in the same direction, that's always a very, very good thing. And as we get up into here, things start flattening out a little bit. This rolls. This is a rolling over event, but it's still very, very high in the trending zone, meaning that the pullback easily is into support. And if we bounce off the zero, well, you know what that means, okay? So as we get into very small time frames, we can see that we are still drifting downward. So my thought is that this bounce is caused a little bit by news, that we should lose this bounce, fill the gap that comes, come down into support right here, probably going to make people go, wow, that's going to go a lot lower, and then it bounces. Now, if it bounces again and it loses that level one more time, we know that it's going to telegraph a lower low, right? Just like if it bounces up here for, 40, 50 cents, which looks like it might do, 40, 50 cents, and comes back down this way, we know we're going to have ourselves a lower low, and that's what I am anticipating right there. Little bit more action to the downside before we start a pop that can be generally sustained, and that looks like maybe it's 162.85. Now listen, if it doesn't bounce here at 162.66 or 65, guess what it's not going to do? Yeah, that's move up in the short order. So everything I say there is completely price-based. Loses this level, shorting action. Going to come down into this region right here, midline first, and then down to the 161.92. And of course, then we've got support level 2 of the prior day's pivot, that would be Friday's, to be concerned about. As you know, Woody's pivots don't appear until the open of the day, and that's what we need to focus on. So pay attention to these levels. I suspect the fade. Let's see where we are this morning. Actually, hang on. 2 secs. $163.84. Well, what do you know? 163.84 puts us right about here. Looks like we might test this region. So let's shift this up just a little bit. Right? And we'll leave 164 as the area of frontline resistance. If we hold it, we are going to test this pivot action right here above it, 57 cents to the north, stair-stepping the event. Remember, use in the money or at the money options so that you can get the biggest bang for your moving buck, right? The smaller the delta is, the less sensitive the option is, and that's not really a good thing. If you're looking at intraday trading, you want high sensitivity unless you're expecting some kind of breakout. So these are our levels for the day: 161.39, 161.92, 162.65. This congestion area here where I think we pull back into support. 164 is the level I think that we lose if we hold it. Let's say we come in and we lose the 164, but we hold 163.55 or so. If we hold 163.55, and I probably ought to put a note there to remind myself of it. If we hold the 163.50-ish area, right? That's just above the 200 on the hourly. If we do that, we know, goodness sakes, we know that we've got upside momentum sitting right here that gives us a bounce, pushes us up in this level. All right? Very noisy trading, folks. Very, very noisy trading. Let's get to the IWM. IWM showing the same sort of thing. Look, this little triangular pattern did break down underneath it. Levels that we placed for Friday, rock solid. Loss of 98.31 brought in the 97.90 just like that. So that looks really, really nice. Actually, the loss of the 98.82 level, the failure to hold this region, definitely gives us the opening short. What a beautiful trade. Look at where the VWAP is. The monthly VWAP is all the way down here. What's the rule of thumb? Normally 50% traverse. So if we pop up like we are, right, in the IWM, and let's see where we're holding there. 98.02 is where we are. So we're right in this region, right around here. This wick, right? If we lose this level right here, we should move down into the 97.57 area. These pivots are a little farther apart, but that's certainly what we're looking for. The loss of 97, probably ought to move it right there, actually. Yeah. The loss of 97.77 takes us down probably past that region, probably into this region, 97.44. And then we just stair step it down. As long as our candlesticks don't make higher highs and higher lows, we know we are going to move. This is going to be a little aggressive suction event, pulling it in here if it loses this 97.77 area, right? It's going to come down into this region. Now we're caught between a few major averages, moving averages, the volume weighted average price, the 50 and the 200 on the hourly. That makes for very, very messy trading. Not only that, our SMIs are in the neutral zone on the hourly chart. Things not shaping up to look too pretty here in terms of trading. Very messy. Looks like it will pop and drop and then pop and drop again. Let's see what oh yeah, everything showing very sloppy action. I'd be super careful trading here in the IWM. Nevertheless, the levels will take the triggers. You just want to be quick and you want to really move aggressively by taking profits level to level. Let's take a look at Qs. Qs, again, doing the same thing. Looks a little bit more like the SPY because it dropped straight through, went all the way down to the other VWAP, now bouncing above it. The Qs have looked very, very weak. Apple probably having a bit to do with that. You think? Yeah. Um, Apple's got a conference coming up that might end up making it bounce a little bit, but this chart is very unreliable at this juncture. A lot of folks thinking Apple's at the bottom of its move, and I mean, it very well might be. I just don't really have confidence in taking it long and then just sitting back and waiting for it to move. All right, so here we are, currently looking like 73.23, something like that. 73.23. Yeah, that puts us right here. The high that we had pre-market, not too much higher, really. Right there, look at this. This congestion event right here. Yeah. So we know above 73.30 we've got a good push, probably up into this region. Very sloppy, folks. Again, 50 right up here. Weekly VWAP, monthly VWAP. You know, if we had those other candlesticks, if we had those other moving averages, we'd probably have some kind of mess in the middle here. Again, look at where the SMIs are. Very ugly. Very, very ugly formations in the neutral zone. Golly, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole today. That's got to do something before I touch that. All right, losing the low of this region is a good catalyst for a shorting trigger to open up into first 72.93 and then 72.83. We can step down it. Support level should hold right around that area. You'll have to stair step it down for the lower levels. But again, very noisy. Now, if we take a look at the 30-minute chart, we can see that we've lost the 200 and the 50 on the 30-minute chart. So let's go to the hourly. See how far away? Really far. This looks like it's got downside action sitting on it to me. But again, super sloppy. Wouldn't touch it here. You know what? If it bounces and comes up into this region and fails, could take the short. Again, messy. Messy. Don't really like those formations at all. Hey, watch the levels. If they begin to hold, your pivot action is going to work. And that's going to be really pretty nice. Okay? So, good luck trading. Check out the levels. You know I have those written in the blog for the movement. And have a good day trading. Use caution.